sometimes you just gotta stab a bitch. Right in a smug prick face. It's a perfectly normal thing to do. I spend most weekends doing that. Do you guys hear sirens? Hello YouTube, I'm Darkest101 and I finally get to talk about the Assassin's Creed franchise. Assassin's Creed is a game that let loose everyone's inner man-child, in that they could finally enact a secret assassin fantasy without people judging them. It was a brand new franchise by Ubisoft and one that won't be going away anytime soon. With its combination of history and fantasy, conspiracy, science, swordplay and freerunning, Assassin's Creed practically has everything in it except for guns. And considering how oversaturated the shooter genre has become, that's a fucking godsend. But how good is the first Assassin's Creed game? So just how good of a game is the first Assassin's Creed? Let's get to the heart of the matter. By stabbing it in the chest. It's a joke about assassins. The general concept of Assassin's Creed is that throughout history there has been an order of assassins guarding the free will of humanity from dictators and tyrants. At the time of the Crusades, they entered in a seemingly never-ending war with the Templars, a faction of the Knights Templar who sought to overthrow all rule and subjugate humanity in what they viewed as a utopian society. To achieve these goals, the Templars planned to gather items referred to as Pieces of Eden, mysterious artifacts with incredible powers from a civilization before humankind. The Assassins and Templars' struggle has gone throughout the ages, a secret war fought across the continent and shaping humanity's future, each side trying to take and gather as many Pieces of Eden from the other. I love thinking about how the meetings for creating this plotline must have gone. I just have this mental image of Ubisoft just gathering around this big melting pot and just throwing in random ideas, seeing what floated up to the surface. Now, while I like the concept for Assassin's Creed, the gameplay of the first game, I'm not really impressed by. The free roaming is, while initially impressive, very stiff and hard to use effectively. The combat is sluggish and repetitive, especially in the early stages of the game, which makes it so boring. The enemy AI is so overpowered it makes it impossible to run, nay, impossible to walk anywhere without a guard pointing you out, which means you have to blend shuffle to get anywhere without being spotted, which is especially annoying when you have random crazies coming up to you and shove you about. And the viewpoints, good god, the fucking viewpoints. The only way to expand the view of your map for various areas of Assassin's Creed is to climb various tall structures called viewpoints scattered around the place. And given how slow you climb in this game, it's the most tedious thing you can ever do. That and saving random civilians from the guards because of the sluggish combat. All these optional objectives are to get your map expanded and get help from inside the city, instead of perhaps the most essential optional objectives in the game, and they're so fucking dull. And don't even get me started on those fucking flags. There's just so much extra content in this game, but there's no reward for it. You'd probably get bragging rights, but that's about it. And I don't normally take time out of my review to talk about completion bonuses, guys, but I am genuinely confused by why this crap is in here. The story of Assassin's Creed is Desmond Miles, an assassin from present-day New York, has been kidnapped by the Abstergo Corporation, the modern-day face of the Templars. In particular, he is the guest of Dr. Warren Vidic and his assistant Lucy Stillman. Forced into the machine known only as the Animus, Desmond must relive the memories of his ancestor, Altair ibn Ahad. By completing certain sequences of Altair's genetic memories, Desmond is ejected from the Animus and control is reverted to him. It's in these sections of Assassin's Creed you can explore the Abstergo lab that is now your prison and home. Depending on how well you explore your surroundings, expands how much more you can explore and how much more you can find out about Abstergo and the corporation. Upon first playing Assassin's Creed, I was unaware you could access Vince's computer, and only by playing it recently was I made aware of how to achieve this goal. That's literally the only replay value you're going to get from this game. Going back into it and seeing what you missed the first time around. At least with my version anyway, because I got my version of Assassin's Creed as a bonus for Assassin's Creed Revelations, so I'm not sure if the PS3 version in general of Assassin's Creed has no trophies, or if this particular version of Assassin's Creed comes with no trophies, but anyway, nothing really exciting happens in the modern day sections of the game, and most of the story happens in the memories of Altair, so let's stop talking about Desmond, because really, who gives a flying fuck about his stupid face anyway? Altair and two assassins, Malik and Kadar, breached Solomon's temple in Jerusalem during the time of the Third Crusade, in an attempt to steal the treasure of the Templars. Ignoring the teachings of their master, Al-Mualim, Altair decides to execute his mission his own way.
This one need not die.
I don't care.
Well, that was kinda insensitive.
Altair and the others come across the treasure and its keeper, Robert de Sable, a knight serving under King Richard. Altair becomes separated from Malik and Kadar after the two factions begin fighting. Unable to find a way to return to his comrades, Altair returns to the assassin's stronghold, the castle of Masyaf. Altair relays his failures to his mentor Al-Mualim before Malik, wounded and bleeding, returns alone with the Templar treasure.
You almost got us both killed, jackass!
Robert and his men, having followed Altair, arrive at the gates of Masyaf Castle and begin attacking the assassin forces. Through deception and skill, Altair manages to send Robert and his knights packing. Despite the success, however, his failures in the Temple of Solomon earn him the backhand.
I am not a traitor.
Your actions indicate otherwise, and so you leave me no choice. Peace be upon you, Altair.
What is it with games these days and trying to fake us out by making us think the main character is dead within the first 5 minutes? Seriously, we're not gonna fall for it. Why do it? Altair is spared actual death by Al-Mualim and is tasked with hunting down people of influence for the armies of King Richard and Salah ad-Din. Slavers, torturers, and political agents are all targets for Altair's blade to strike down, so that the armies of the two rulers will be weakened. Which is why, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be of political influence, you don't just sit on the fucking throne. As soon as you sit on that chair, your face is just a head and a crosshairs. If you really want political influence, you do it from the shadows. Altair eventually discovers from Al-Mualim that the men who he's been assigned to kill are all Templars, working from within the respective forces to overthrow their leaders and bring about their view of utopia with the help of the treasure they desperately seek to reclaim from the assassin's grasp, the Apple of Eden.
Look at it.
What am I supposed to see?
This piece of silver cast out Adam and Eve. It turned staves into snakes, parted and closed the Red Sea. Eris used it to start the Trojan War, and with it a poor carpenter turned water into wine.
And sometimes I just use it to find gay people.
Why would you want to do that?
Secretly, I'm very lonely.
Wow. No wonder everyone wants their hands on this thing. And considering all the stuff it can do, of course it's going to be a fucking apple. The deaths on either side of the Crusader conflict result in Robert left vulnerable and without his forces. Altair moves in for one last assassination to end the Templar threat once and for all. However, when he arrives to strike down Robert, he discovers the Templar has fled to seek counsel with King Richard and urge him to make peace with Salah ad-Din to fight against the assassins. Altair does however reach Robert before he convinces the two armies to join forces and kills him. As Robert dies in his arms, however, he reveals there was one final Templar who was there the day the treasure was found. One who didn't want to share his power with anyone else. Al-Mualim. To be 100% honest, I am surprised no one saw that this guy was going to turn out as a villain early on. I mean, let's think about it. He's an old man, he's wearing black, and he's blind in one eye. everything about his appearance just screams villain. Altair returns to Masyaf to find everyone has been placed under Al-Mualim's spell through the use of the apple. As Altair fights off against the mind-controlled army of Steves, Malik, who we've spent the entire game making amends with for Altair's failures in the Temple of Solomon and the death of Malik's younger brother Kadar, comes to Altair's rescue with his own minions.
Minions, beat their collective asses!
With Malik keeping the thralls off Altair's back, Altair faces off against Al-Mualim.
When I left you, I was but the looter. Now I am the guy kicking your ass with a stick.
Altair defeats Al-Mualim and vows to destroy the apple. However, like Al-Mualim before him, Altair is enamored by the apple's glow, as it recreates a map of the entire world, showing the location of other pieces of Edens. It's at this point that Desmond is pulled from the Animus, Vidic and his Templar masters having found the memory they were looking for in the map Altair saw. Which is a really fucking stupid plan. Yeah, just plot an expedition to a bunch of treasure locations from a map that's over 300 years old. What's the worst that could happen? It's not like any of them are likely to have moved at that time. Desmond is locked in his room by Vidic, and, through the bleeding effect, sees through Eagle Vision, a special sixth sense inherited from Altair. The Eagle Vision shows him markings daubed on the wall in blood, ending the first installment of Assassin's Creed. Well, that was okay, I guess. The parkour free-running aspect of the game needs to be tightened. The combat is too slow, and for a game about assassins, the game lacks stealth like no one's business. There's no bonus for even trying to be stealthy, and no penalties for rushing in like Rambo. The ridiculous amount of extra content in this game for no reward is just preposterous, and while the story is pretty damn engaging and thought-provoking, it doesn't save for the fact that there are some big problems with the game in general. The original Assassin's Creed, for all that it started and for all the sequels and legacy it left, it's by far the best in the franchise. And if you, like myself, started playing this series with Assassin's Creed 2 and have yet to play the original Assassin's Creed, I wouldn't bother. It's not really worth it in my opinion. You can easily skip over Assassin's Creed because nothing happens in the modern day section that you'll be able to pick up in the sequel, and nothing in Altair's story really comes back to affect any of the later games. With that in mind, guys, for ridiculously sluggish combat, slow parkour, and just overall unimportant installment, Assassin's Creed gets a dark rating of 38.
Crap in a bucket! I didn't plan for this!
But as always, I've been Darkest101. I hope you guys are enjoying Double Dip December, and as always, you've been watching Darkest101 Reviews. Thanks for watching. Good night, YouTube.